I am Jose Bermejo. I am the founder of Predictable Innovation Strategy. I've been 16 years selling software and products and services in B2B. I'm sales and decision-making coach, fractional executive. I am teaching this because basically all of this that I'm teaching is what is helping me save 40% of operative expenditures in my business. So they are real use cases that I'm using for in the projects of my clients. I'm going to remove here. Okay. Yes, the recording will be shared after the session. You will receive it approximately 48 hours after the session in your email. So rest assured, you will have the recording. Vamos. So what will you learn today? Let's go through this. We're going to be 45 minutes together in which I'm going to help you discover how to use AI tools to get market insight. I'm going to showcase 4 different tools. I'm going to showcase NotebookLM, very, very interesting, the latest use case that I've been using for market research and understanding, let's say, potential opportunities to grow. Of course, ChatGPT is going to be one of our tools, and Deepresearch, Perplexity AI, and the Gigabrain. Those are the 4 tools with different use cases, approximately around 10 use cases I'm going to showcase. I have more than 1,200 use cases, so this is just a tiny amount of the use cases that I will be teaching in future lessons and the ones I use. The third is you are going to get my AI prompts guide to discover market opportunities. It's a Notion template with around 60 to 70 prompts. So you're going to get a lot of the prompts that I use. This is based on the prompts of last year. It's not updated, but still it's a lot of free value that you're going to get if you stay with me. Then a little bit about how to create your custom AI GPT assistant or agent. I'm just going to open one of my agents and to show you how can you create it in 5 minutes. For that purpose, I have another lesson, way more extended, that you can join. And then during the last 10-15 minutes, we'll go through Q&A. And then, of course, you're going to get some free course, a free prompt guide, and consulting discounts. But before we get started, I want to learn from you, where are you at in your AI journey? And this is a question for you. And so the way I see it in my experience teaching AI is there are 3 different stages that you can be in your AI journey, right? The first stage is how you talk to AI. Basically is you probably are starting with ChatGPT and you want to learn how to improve the outcomes, how to get more information or deeper or broader from ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud, this chat thing AI, which basically is how to make the most of your chat tools, is this first stage. Now, in the second stage, once you know how to improve the outcomes by talking with this Cloud GPT, Gemini, etc., it's about understanding more tasks in which AI can save you more costs. Probably you've been testing, you know how to interact with ChatGPT, you are making the most of that interaction, but you need real-world inspiration with use cases like today. Today is real-world inspiration in use cases. And then once you get that, we move to stage 3, which is from tasks to workflow automation, which basically is you create your custom GPTs to delegate tasks, AI assistants, and agents, and you create them by your own. Now, I would love to see, more or less what's the percentage of each of you. So drop a 1, a 2, or a 3, depending on where you identify in this journey. Please, a quick self-assessment. Jacqueline, thank you. Stage 2, I love that. Stage 2.5, most automating, stage 2. Okay, cool. Stage 2, we have here people, stage 3, Chani, thank you. Okay, someone else? Well, we have a clear winner, stage 2, 3, yeah. Mostly is stage 2, some of you stage 2, 3, some of you stage 3, but mostly you're in the center, which is today's free session, which is absolutely great because hopefully you're gonna get a ton of value. Now, for the other ones, the ones that are in stage 1, I have the free perk, which is this free AI course of do and don'ts of talking with AI with 10 different emails that include different prompts to improve how you talk with AI. I'm going to drop this real quick in the chat so you get access. And then for the ones in stage 2, I have another perk, which is one-to-one working session with me, a power hour, that is discounted to $380 instead of the $500, in which we can and we will work one-to-one during 1 hour to strategize AI assistants, create prompts and custom GPTs, train you in tools, deepen this stage 2 just for your specific use cases. So you and me together. And you can scan, or I'm going to drop here the link. And for the ones that are in stage 3, and with this we are going to start with the prompts, I have a 20% off to help you build your AI agents building. All the packages include this, and I have a special offer with 20% discount. I'll drop this here, and now we're going to go right away into the next step. Now, it's very important that we understand before we get into the prompts, that we understand the different stages. So why do we want to research? We're talking about growth, but what is growth? Well, growth is sales, growth is revenue growth, right? We want to understand where are opportunities to find more sales, to find more revenue, right? And so, yeah, Neil, so many tabs. Thanks. I bet I'm not the only one, right? We don't know what we don't know. It's like at the very beginning of this market research, it's like we have no idea of where are sources of revenue, and maybe we have a new technology or a new product that we have to launch, but we don't know who to sell to. We don't even know the audience. We don't even know the industry to target. We don't even know what problem we may solve with this product or with this idea. Now, in a second stage, once we scratch the surface of the market, we know what we don't know. So by that stage, we understand what we have to sell. In that stage, the research is about, okay, here is what we have to sell. At the very beginning, when we don't know what we don't know, we have to discover who to sell, the audience, and what problem to solve. Why to sell what we want to sell? Because that means we're solving a problem. The next stage is, okay, we know what we don't know, and by now, we understand what do we have to sell. And then by the end, I always say that it's almost impossible to get to the 100% truth, is we almost know is the how to sell, is when we talk about distribution, messaging, storytelling, the proposal, the sales pitch, all of that is how to sell. And now we can sell it. We can sell wherever we want to launch, is where are we finding growth, right? And now for different stages, I encourage you to take a screenshot of this. For different stages, we have different AI prompts or use cases that are going to help us. So for the first stage is about scratching the surface of the market. It's about generalistic market research, learning about industry trends. It's about generalistic audience research, different audiences. So we are a little bit, scratching the surface, learning about everything, a little bit here and there, but it's not narrow still. We don't know which audience to focus on. We can research in podcasters, we can research papers, we can research different competitors, and we can even, here score opportunities depending on what the opportunities are. Once we move a little bit to the bottom, more in the center of understanding what we know, we talk about AI use cases like a survey analysis. You're launching a survey and then you're getting data from the customers, or you are getting customers. There are pages of customers' reviews, software customer reviews on the internet, or you go to Reddit and then you analyze the audience because you already know the audience. So you can analyze the data specific from different audiences, from surveys, or you have data in your CRM or in your marketing, and then you analyze that CRM and marketing data to see where are opportunities. Or you analyze customer interviews, so you do a SWOT analysis. Here is where we start narrowing down and we have different use cases with AI. And then to know how to sell is when, we specifically go to the final audience, and it's more about specifically once we have segmented the audience, we go to understand the specific pain points of that audience. We can go to Reddit, we can understand also partnership opportunities, is when we want to interview audience, end users, and potential buyers, and extract and use AI to extract all the information from the transcripts and use AI to find patterns across all those interviews. The point is that, you still have to score the opportunities. So let me tie it to the title of this session. So the title of this session is using AI to analyze and select your best market for growth. AI is going to assist us analyzing, making all this research with all those use cases is going to save us, a ton of time. But when it comes to selection, selection is decision making. And so decision making means that we have to put our human brain into work. It's like I cannot delegate to AI, say my client, where do we have to invest millions in go-to-market strategy? That is a decision that we have to make together as humans. That is not an AI's decision. Now, the AI is saving us a ton of time with the research, informing that decision. But ultimately, the decision makers and the critical thinkers are us. So we're not going to get rid, and you must not get rid of this decision-making step. So everything else is researching, clarifying your decision, but picking that market in which you have to invest to grow, it's ultimately your decision. And now, without more delays, we start showcasing case studies. Well, more than case studies, they are tools and prompts. This is a very, very interesting prompt that I've been using for one of my clients. And why is so interesting? So with NotebookLM, this is the tool, NotebookLM by Google, you can upload YouTube videos from interviews. Let's say, for example, the exact use case that I'm doing is right now I have a client in the e-commerce space for fast growth brands. Now there is a podcast called the FMCG Guys, who interviews speakers and who interviews industry leaders. They have all their podcasts stored in YouTube. Now, guess what? Those leaders are the audience that my client is targeting. And so a very fast forward way of understanding their pain points is going through all the videos, the interviews, and understanding what are the patterns of pain points, industry challenges, problems that the industry has not solved so far. And so with NotebookLM, what you can do is YouTube videos. So what you do is you add here the URL of the interview of this expert, and I've added all these interviews. I think there are around 10 interviews here from experts in this market that I am researching. And now it's going to tell me a summary of each interview. But the most interesting thing is that he is going to read. He's going to read the transcript of the YouTube. So he's going to transcribe the full YouTube interview. He's going to transcribe it. And then I can ask questions. I can ask questions to the full interviews or interview by interview. So for example, here I have a note. I asked what the key investment priorities in sellout channels. And then it came up with all of this. And all of this is coming and is telling me the mentions and specifically the text, the words of the interviewees. Based on the discussions in the provided podcast transcripts, the leaders highlight several investment priorities, data analytic capabilities. And here it talks about Coca-Cola, here it talks about Neil Reynolds, the different people that I've been uploading. So these investments aim to fix the lack of a unified view of data, the inability to derive actionable insights, and the challenge in measuring e-commerce performance effectively. Now, you take that as one hypothesis to launch a product or to expand your product into, right? And then is where that is one hypothesis to grow. Now, you keep researching based on this hypothesis, but you are getting a hypothesis right away from real people in the market, potential decision makers. And now you can ask this NotebookLM whatever you want. You can ask here any questions, right? And then it's going to answer. And everything is based on this. So this is one of the things. It's very easy to use. It's free. You just have to add the sources of data, which means that the data is not going to be biased by the artificial intelligence database. The answers are coming specifically from the data you are uploading to NotebookLM. In my case, just from the interviews in this podcast. Very, very powerful use case. Now, second use case and second tool is Perplexity AI. I'm not using much Perplexity AI these days because I think that, in my opinion, ChatGPT has catched Perplexity AI, mostly with Deepresearch, which is mind-blowing, mentioning sources and going in depth with the research. And so I'm not paying for both tools, but I wanted to show you these tools because they also have a free tier. And so, for example, following the same research, I'm asking structural differences in FMCG commerce between Brazil, Europe, and the USA. And then it's coming up. So what it's going to do is it's going to the internet, create a live browsing, and it's going to browse, and it's going to have an internal dialogue. ChatGPT already catch it with this internal dialogue. What means internal dialogue? An internal dialogue means that it's not just going to go through your question, but it's going to have an internal thinking, critical thinking process. So the algorithm asks in different ways to the internet to get different data, and then see the nuances and how they are related to each other, and came up with the best answer. So it has an internal thinking process. Yes, Daniel. So I think that there are more than 5 deep researches, because I've been using it, I would say, more than 15 times this month. I think there are 20 deep research monthly with ChatGPT. Are you talking about ChatGPT, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Thank you. So for the Q&A, yes, Chani, thank you for your question. Drop your questions. We'll have the Q&A at the end. I'm going to answer all the questions. But what is great is that as we learn and you get questions in your mind, drop them in the chat. So by the end, I can answer all of them in the Q&A, okay? And so here are the structural differences, and then it's going to provide us with links to the references, so we can check that those references actually exist. Perplexity AI is not, making up these conclusions, right? And then you can follow up, and it's very similar to ChatGPT in this case. Okay. Now, same question for ChatGPT Deep Research. And now I ask research structural differences in the MCG industry. Well, actually, that is not deep research. Yeah, this one is deep research. Let's go through this, and then we'll talk about deep research ChatGPT. Let's get back to ChatGPT. Research structural differences in the MCG industry. So this is the answer by ChatGPT, which is very similar to the one in Perplexity AI. So for this search, the difference is that in Perplexity AI search, the web is by default. In ChatGPT, it's not by default. So you have to click here to have that search by default, right? And then if you don't click here, what is going to do ChatGPT is going to the internal database. You know that there are now many claims and lawsuits against OpenAI because they've been scrapping all the web to train the OpenAI LLMs and ChatGPT. So, well, that is actually the data that they are being scraping. And if we don't click on the search button, it's going to go into the internal database, which is outdated. You will always have more up-to-date answers if you click on the search. If you click on the search, it's very similar to the results in Perplexity AI. Okay? But with this, so what do we get? We get differences in growth opportunities by market. We get differences in the segments. We get differences in how they are growing and evolving in the different markets, right? The level of maturity. And we get differences also in the challenges that they are experiencing. So this is great because we can compare across different, not just industries, but also geographies, the difference in maturities, because the difference in maturities is also going to tell us what markets should we target if we have an idea or a product to launch. So it's also part of the research for growth. And then hierarchy drivers behind the difference in between markets and a conclusion. Okay. More prompts. So once we have a high level understanding, say we're here, let me relate with this. We are doing general market and industry research, general audience research, podcast upload. So we are trying to understand who to sell and what problem to solve. And now the next step is to understand what problem to solve. So what we can do is ask and narrow down the research to specific pain points. This is what I'm asking. Narrow down your research to specific pain points. What are the top use cases or pain points to solve in this different market for CMOs or heads of e-commerce? So the more specific the question, the more specific the answer. We can narrow down to company sizes, to different job titles, and so on. And so Chat is going to K-map with the pain points and the use cases so we can understand where are in this next stage, what problem do we solve, and to whom we can understand what are the most difficult problems to solve. which basically are growth opportunities if no one else has solved them, or if they have solved them, but there is still room for more market because the market is not crowded with competition. And now that's another thing that we can do. We can ask for a competitor research. And so you can do also this research in reverse engineering. Well, actually, this is not the research engineering. The reverse engineering, it's in one of the other. I will show you later in some minutes. Another use case about researching an audience. So imagine that you have a website like maven.com, which is the website that you have registered for this very same session. And so you want ChatGPT to do a deep research with multiple tasks. That's great when you use the O1. It's really good at understanding multiple tasks because it's really good at critical thinking. And so if you use the 4 and then you say task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, sometimes ChatGPT is going to mix tasks because it's not as much good for reasoning and critical thinking. But with ChatGPT O1, you can, go step by step and in one prompt tell all the tasks. So what I told ChatGPT is, now I want you to go to maven.com, so pages and courses related to sales, marketing, and product marketing research. This is a research for myself to market my own courses and services in Maven and programs, right? So I said, what are the top demanded courses, and find out what they offer in terms of value proposition and pain points. Task 2, research the pain points of the audience, freelancers, and solopreneurs offering services. Task 3, research coaching programs and courses, the internet that offers sales acceleration. And task 4 is like, I'm telling in the 1, 2, and 3 tasks are about researching and gathering data. And now in the task 4, I'm telling, analyze all the previous data to answer this question. What pain points for freelancers and solopreneurs when it comes to sales and marketing that are not properly solved by existing courses and coaching programs? Okay. And so he goes and says, here on the right, you can see all the reasoning, analyzing course demand, examining freelance hurdles, taking a closer look, assessing course needs, mapping on the gaps. So all the internal reasoning, which is very, very powerful. And then it's going to tell, here is the methodology, here are the courses that I found and the pain points that they solve, which means my competition, right? And then common themes, task 2, pain points for freelancers. So I learn all the pain points for freelancers. Task 3, the research on coaching programs. And then task 4 is analysis. What are the unmet pain points for freelancers and solopreneurs in sales and marketing? Hands-on implementation and accountability for solo service providers. This is the gap between the offers and the pain points and why it matters. Customized pricing and packaging for service-based businesses, relationship-based lead generation, sales mindset, confidence coaching, integrating marketing delivery workflows, niche-specific guidance, which means narrowing down value propositions. And also I can build courses and programs targeting on this. So these are growth areas. So with just this prompt, I am basically, doing this. Getting back to this decision, selecting, analyzing, and selecting. Of course, I would like to go through all these criteria and think, because I told you that I am the human and I'm going to select the market by myself. But, I have now a deep understanding. It's just one prompt. It's crazy. It's saving me days, right? Now, I can take this and I'm going to show you the next tool. The next tool is Gigabrain. Gigabrain is specifically for Reddit. It's audience research on Reddit. So what is cool is that if your audience, so for example, there are small, medium business owners, solopreneurs, freelancers, and a lot of developers, engineers, and also financial groups, right? In Reddit. So if your audience potentially is in Reddit, you ask the Gigabrain. And so research the pain points of the audience, freelancers and solopreneurs offering high, let's say, consulting services. Okay. And then it's going through the entire Reddit database. This is really good. It's going to tell us the sources of the data to compile the answer, 18 more sources. And it's going to create a summary, understanding pain points of freelancers and solopreneurs. And in here is all the data. They have issues in lead generation and client acquisition. This is so powerful that I can even open the conversation. I can go here to this user And I can, if they have questions, I can help them, potentially generating leads on the long term, building relationships and potentially generating leads in the long term. So I can answer all these questions if they are struggling, how to generate leads and all of that, right? All of these are conversations. And then you can ask follow-up questions, is helping you with the next prompt. You can even talk to the Gigabrain. So you can have a conversation with all of this data that it found, which is really, really good. Okay. So the gigabrain.com, another great tool that I'm dropping here in the chat. Okay. Next one, reverse engineering. And after this, I'm going to show you the GPT creation. So then we have 10 minutes of Q&A. Reverse engineering. So what I did with this prompt is, imagine that you want to understand pain points that you can solve or competitors. You can understand everything about the market or about an audience. And what you have is either an approximation of a sales pitch, kind of a landing page, or you don't have anything for your product, but you have the landing page or the sales pitch or some sort of marketing asset by your competition. And so you do this reverse engineering prompt, which is you upload the website in PDF and you upload the pitch deck in PDF or whatever marketing assets you have. And you say, you are an expert in go-to-market research for B2B software solutions. Well, you have to say your market. I'm attaching 2 files. That's very important. Your tasks are: 1, analyze the content of the pitch deck and understand deeply the product. Task 2, think through these subtasks and research about. This is deep research. Brainstorm 2-3 audiences that may have the best problem solution fit in the USA for this product. Tell me the most urgent pain point it solves for the previous audiences. List the #1 competitive solution or behavior. Tell me if we are competing against solutions or internal teams building the solution. Tell me the market category of the software product and create a SWOT analysis. And then he wants me to clarify. I clarify the questions, and then he goes into a deep research. In 7 minutes, through 20 resources, this is all the internal dialogue, which I think it's brutal, fantastic. And he is going to create this deep research telling you everything about, potential targets. These are industries in potential targets, all the sources that they are mentioning, competitive landscape analysis, the SWOT analysis with a table. I mean, this is absolutely outstanding. And then you can keep narrowing down your research, for example, to help to brainstorm pain points for the next stage, which is how to sell it, right? So you keep narrowing down and deepening your research. So here, for example, is coming up with potential pain points. I'm going to copy and paste this one for you because this is a very powerful prompt. To format opportunities. What are growth opportunities? I want you to create the answer in the form of bullet points. So I'm telling you specifically the outcomes. And so it's very powerful, this prompt. Once you have a previous research done, you can save a lot of time with this prompt. Okay. Now, before we go into the next one, I want you also, I'm gonna close this. The next one is analyzing data. So for example, this is data, and with this is the last prompt. Then we will move into the ChatGPT creation for 5 minutes and then Q&A. Thank you for staying with me, by the way. So I am uploading here. Here you cannot see the data, but what I did is upload here this Excel that now I'm sharing with you. You can see the Excel now, I believe. And this Excel is basically the data of my marketing automation system. All the leads that I generate through this webinar session and all of that, they are there in that system, in that Excel. And so what I did is I extracted all the data, not extracting the data, but I've crossed all the data from the emails and I extracted the data with an external tool. And so it told me the LinkedIn URLs, the industry, and all of that about the emails. And then I upload this here. And it's very important for this type of task that you turn off the ChatGPT training to prevent ChatGPT to learn from that data. The first thing I do is I remove the email data because that's private data. So I will never upload email data to ChatGPT. The second is make sure that you have turned off in ChatGPT the training data. So nothing that you are telling ChatGPT is going to the algorithm of ChatGPT to train. So those are the two ways you have to take into account to maintain the privacy of your customers, which is very, very important. Now, once you have that clear, you can upload the data. You can prompt like this: I am a CRO trying to find patterns for my go-to-market strategy. Basically, I'm trying to find who is my audience and then what I can sell to them, which is areas of growth. I am attaching a CSV with data of my leads, and then your insights will inform things like how to narrow down the audience report and all of this. Well, it came up with this. Analyze the data, and it says you have 737 leads, from which 73 are in software development, 34 are in IT services. So it's going to analyze the data and give me all this. So now I have a better understanding of my ICP automatically, ICP. And then after this, he asked me these 3 suggestions. I can identify high-value segments, detect which roles are the most likely decision makers, and provide recommendations on how to narrow down your target audience and craft offers. And I said, go to the 3 suggestions. And here he goes. So he's going to create high-value lead segments, key takeaways for high-value volume segments. There are key decision makers, go-to-market recommendations, problems to solve for this audience, right? And so when you cross this data with everything else in the GPTs and in the other use cases that we've seen, you accelerate this path here, but like months, literally, and you're saving tons and tons of times. It's crazy how fast you accelerate. Just literally now, we've got a lot of data. Now, here is my customer research GPT, which is the last thing I want to show you today. But before I show you today, remember that I can help you to build this custom GPT by booking an AI agents and discovery and assistants package with me, which right now is 20% off for all of you. Thanks for joining this call. That's part of my thank you. Gabriela will do that in 5 minutes when we go into the Q&A. I'll go through all your questions. Now, how to train the ChatGPT. So for when you create a new GPT, and for this, I'll have another session, this customer researcher, you go through steps in instructions, and then you have to upload the knowledge base. And in the knowledge base, you, in the best scenario, you want to create a format like this, in which you are telling the GPT what are the rules to analyze. So then this custom GPT plays by these rules, okay? And then you're telling how do you want the outcome to be formatted, and the rules, more rules, outcome to be formatted, right? And then you upload it, you tell the steps, what to analyze, and then you are gonna get the outcomes and the rules as they are here. I'm going to share this file with you so you can create your own step by step. And of course, if it's something difficult for you, I'll be happy to create your GPT together, because most of you are in that step in between the 2 and the 3. Now, we are, if I don't remember badly, we are moving into the Q&A. Just last reminder about the offers is one for a one-to-one power hour call with me, in which we will go through hands-on session working together. It's a direct ROI session in which we will be working together on create prompts for you, on create a GPT for you, or whatever you need to fix. And the second is a package to create 1, 5, or 10 GPTs. Both have 20% discount. This is the free course. And last but not least, I haven't shared this with you, is the Notion AI library of prompts, in which I have approximately between 60 to 70 prompts. They are from 2024, but they still work for most of the, well, they all work actually. It's just I haven't updated the library. Right now I have more than 200, but you still have a lot of free value with this Notion AI template. Now, time to Q&A. Let me check your questions and go through them. Thanks for staying with me until this point. If you have any more questions, please drop them in the chat. I'm scrolling up, checking everything. I need an AI assistant for this. NotebookLM YouTube videos. Chani is saying NotebookLM YouTube videos is awesome. One question, many YouTubers disable their transcripts. Any thoughts on alternatives? Not sure. I think that, and I'm not sure about this, take this with a piece of salt. I think that NotebookLM is creating their own transcript. So it's not accessing the transcript. So even though it's not creating the transcript, it will create a transcript. If I am wrong, which I said I'm not sure 100% about that, there are tools that extract the video. So in Google, you Google YouTube to video or to MP4, and it's going to download the video, and then you can upload that video to NotebookLM. So there is a workaround. Is it possible to upload PDFs? Yes. Is it possible to upload PDFs to all the tools but the Gigabrain, all the ones we've seen? It will be my second use case outside the YouTube videos. Only Google Docs, slides, copied text. You mean for NotebookLM? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about ChatGPT. Yes, so far it doesn't accept as sources. So you can create here sources, but here you can see PDFs. I haven't uploaded a PDF, but it accepts PDF, text, markdown, audio, and then Google Drive, Google Docs, the websites, YouTubes, and copy text. So yes, it accepts PDFs. Jacqueline, how do you ensure it does this internal conversation opposed to just giving its usual answers? Well, here we have to distinguish in between Perplexity and ChatGPT. Perplexity AI does the internal conversation by default. The latest ChatGPT, the 01, the 3.5, and the 3, they do the internal conversation. And then you have to distinguish also about the search. In ChatGPT, you have to make sure you click search to ask ChatGPT going to the internet as opposed to get data from the internal database. In Perplexity AI, by default, is going to the internet. Is there any security or privacy for confidential data? Thank you, Mari. That's true. Allegedly in enterprise level or paid versions. I work for my clients in the enterprise version that they call it the Teams version of ChatGPT. And what they have is a tenant for themselves and the data is for themselves. Now, other than that, this is what you can do. You go to ChatGPT and you don't need for that. You go to settings, okay? And then once you go to settings, here in data controls, sorry, it's not here, trying to find it. There is a custom instructions, memory, data controls, improve model for everyone, off. So this is what you have to click on, off, right? Because that way it's preventing the data to upload. That is how you prevent ChatGPT to use your data. It's the privacy control that has ChatGPT, okay? So that is the way. What else? Which other questions do we have? 1 minute to go. What tool do you do to extract data from emails? And so I don't have an automation that is going to an email and telling me the data. So Gabriela, can you clarify that question for me? Because there are, so do you mean extract data? So if you have an email from someone, is like getting more insights from that email? Or do you mean that you are getting an email in your inbox and then?
Okay. I think, well, what I meant is that in order to build your Excel spreadsheet, right, you said that you extracted data from a whole lot of emails from clients in order to build that Excel spreadsheet. So which tool do you use?
So I don't use that data. I delegate that in a friend that does sales outreach, and then he completes all the data for me. I think it's pretty famous too. It's Claim or something like that, and it's giving you, I think it's not Claim. I'll find out and I'll share with you, because that is something that my friend does with completing the data, because that is not an AI tool. It's not on my toolset universe. That is a kind of database that completes like 6 cents of this type of customer data. It's a database that completes all the data from potential customers and emails. I will ask, when you ask ChatGPT to analyze sub pages, aren't you worried about its capability to actually perform a crawl? Not really. Why should I be concerned about perform a crawl? Actually, what I want is to perform a crawl, because if it doesn't perform a crawl, it's not going to give me all the courses and up-to-date data to analyze. I want to understand who my competitors are today, not 2 months ago. So I want to crawl. I don't know if that answers the question. I'm going very fast, I understand, because we're running out of time and I want to try to answer all your questions. Would you use Gigabrain for forums other than Reddit? Right now, you can use Gigabrain for forums other than Reddit. And so for that, what I would say is to provide the URL to Perplexity. I would tell Perplexity, use this forum to research this specific question that I am asking. And potentially I will also test that in ChatGPT and in Claude to see what different answers do you have. Because the difference is, is a question. It's going to take you 20 seconds to copy and paste. I would try both and specifically tell them the URL of the forum that you want to research, because the Gigabrain is just for Reddit. Thank you, Neil. My customer researcher GPT is not public. I need to see if I can fix it. This is true. Thank you. Okay, now sharing with you all. Thanks for letting me know. What else? You're welcome, Jacqueline. Happy that is. Clay, Rose, thank you. That is the name of the tool. So you asked me how to cross data and extract data from emails from clients. That is Clay. That is the tool. I'm not an expert on Clay, so I have to, hire friends and people in my network to get that data completion. Rose, thank you so much. Is Clay. Dropping in the chat. What else? You can also use Gemini Workspace for Google Sheets. I think people use Copilot Enterprise and Python. Yes. Although Copilot on my clients, some clients are using Copilot and then they still use ChatGPT for a lot of things because Copilot still falls short. Does it actually perform a crawl or just reads the list of courses? I'm not sure about that. That's a great question. I'm not sure about that. But as per the answers and per the deepness of the answer, I think is performing a crawl, is reading actually the pages, because when I got the answers, those answers were very much about the pages that the algorithm was accessing. It is true that it was missing some pages. So it didn't get all the pages. So let's say that there were 20 courses. He didn't crawl the 20 courses, or he didn't find the 20 courses. He found kind of 15 instead of 20. Okay, so it's not going to be 100% accurate. That can do web scraping. That's another tool for web scraping. I actually have one of these tools also that I don't use anymore. But if you go to the web, to the Google, you're gonna find it out. Let's see. It was in Browser AI. It was no, none of this. Barden. This one. This was really good. Barden.io. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Remember, you have perks. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was very, very helpful for you. Remember that you have discounts. They are limited for the next 48 hours. You're going to receive those discounts in your email also. And if you need more help, jump into one of these calls or hire me to build your army of GPT assistants. Hopefully, this session has been very, very helpful. You will get the recording also in 48 hours together with all the perks and all the links. Thank you so much for being with me today and joining this session and also interacting with me. Hope this has been very helpful. Bye-bye.